A very good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to this webinar on the importance of social emotional learning in child development. In this session, we will discuss and touch upon the meaning of social emotional learning, its significance and benefits for children, parents, and teachers, and the power of SEL-based curriculums. So without any further ado, let me introduce our speakers for today. We have with us Ms. Girija Gopinath. Ms. Girija is passionate about learning and education. In her role of managing franchise business and partner relations, she was managing 100 plus preschools and 29 K-12 schools in India, Maldives, Dubai, and Qatar. She presently works with Ampersand Group, with your group of schools, managing government projects. Last 2 years, she has set up 700 Balwaris for MCGM and currently setting up 83 smart creche for Karnataka government. Her interest in the workings of the human brain and its connections to human behavior made her pursue transactional analysis in 2015, which then led her to deep dive into yoga, meditation, and finally mindfulness. Hello, Ms. Girija, and welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Amna.
Then we have with us Ms. Azura Brasid. Ms. Azura is an early childhood education program leader in Veritas University College, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. She designs and conducts professional training for future early childhood educators. Her unwavering passion in early childhood education has influenced generations of preschool teachers since 2008. She loves conducting and learning from educational research, but finds that her best lessons are when she is surrounded by children. A very warm welcome, Ms. Azura.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again.
Next up, we have Ms. Neha Seth. She is an award-winning early childhood educator and speaker known for endowing holistic development in early childhood years. She is also the founder and educator at Neha Seth Academy. We welcome you, Ms. Neha.
Thank you so much.
Now we have Ms. Chitra Kampani. She is an accomplished and enthusiastic educator with demonstrative ability to teach, motivate, and direct students. She has been involved in teaching, training, and content building for the past 10 years. She is presently a learning and development professional at ITM Group of Institutions. She has facilitated and mentored students of various age groups. A very warm welcome, Ms. Chitra.
Thank you, Mama. So now before we start today's session, we will just give a very brief introduction of the SEL curriculum we have been working on, which is called Emotion Shala, which is an initiative by ASCC. So I'll just share my screen. All right. So Emotion Shala is an SEL curriculum. SEL is social emotional learning, and it is for kindergarten and primary schools. And the age range is 3 years to 8 years. So Emotion Shala basically works on social emotional learning, which has 5 main competencies, which means there are 5 main, you can call units from which the child can learn. So there is self-awareness, there is self-regulation, there is social awareness, there is relationship skills, and there is responsible decision making. So we have made this curriculum based on these 5 main competencies, and we aim to help children enhance these competencies in themselves so that they can have a holistic development and they have success in their academic life, their personal life, and as they grow up in their professional life. So every competency has a few lessons, 3 to 4 lessons, and they talk in all those lessons, every child learn about the main competency. So in self awareness, we have, as you can see, 4 lessons, which is identifying emotions, associating colors with emotions, demonstrating values, and mindfulness. So basically, self-awareness talks about being aware of oneself, and therefore the main part is identifying one's own emotions, and then the other parts are demonstrating values, as we all know, the importance of learning values in early childhood, and then we talk about mindfulness. So for all our lessons, which is 15 lessons for the children, and we have 5 different sessions for the parents also. So in all our lessons, we have used a lot of teaching aids, a lot of different modes of learning so that every child can learn properly. So we have worksheets, we have drawing, we have coloring, we have painting, we have puppetry, animated videos. So if there are few children who are not very good at learning through reading and writing, can learn through videos, can learn through auditory learning. We have singing, we have dancing, we have jingles, we have movement. And then we have situation-based and experiential stories, and we have debriefing sessions so that every child can learn, and then we can also keep a track record of what they have learned and how much they have learned. I'll just show a small video. So for every lesson, we have one animated video, since the age range is very, very young children. And in today's world, children are all about YouTube and videos and, watching things. So for every lesson, we have one video. So I'll just show a demo video of one of the lessons, which is mindfulness. Just a second.
I'm Betty. Let's learn belly breathing. Lay down in your bed or in a comfortable place. Place a soft toy atop your belly. Now, on count of 3, inhale deeply through your nose. 1, 2, 3. Now, on the count of 4, exhale through your mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 to 10 rounds of belly breathing is a good way to get started. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Relax, relax, relax.
So similar to this lesson, we have one video for all the 15 lessons. Now, all of us know the importance of SEL, and we will know it further from our speakers when they talk about it. But a few very main benefits of SEL is increase in academic performance, better pro-social behavior, decrease in stress, decrease in conflicts at school, and better relationship with parents, teachers, and friends. So that is the main aim of making this curriculum, so that we can enhance all these things in children. We have made the curriculum completely in the Indian context. So all the stories, their characters, everything is Indian. And we have put in Indian values in them, the values that we have been learning through all these years. We have put those values in the curriculum. Also, we have SEL trained facilitators with us who will be able to teach the SEL curriculum to children, since they have the knowledge of it. And well, that is about the curriculum. And for any further details, anybody can reach out to us on the email IDs and the phone numbers given on the screen. And recently, we have also launched our website. So anybody who's interested can also visit the website. We'll share the website details in the chat box. This is it about the curriculum. Now we'll move on further, and we have a small video from the CEO and MD of ASCC, Dr. Ashish Sen, and he also wants to tell the audience a bit about the SEL and a bit about the curriculum. So Dr. Sen is, as I said, the CEO and MD of ASCC, and he's a globally acclaimed facilitator and emotional intelligence expert. He is the founding member and chairman of the Forum for Emotional Intelligence Learning in India. He is also the only member to represent India at the EI Consortium USA, founded by Dr. Daniel Goleman, and has been recognized by Dr. Goleman for his work on emotional intelligence in India. So we'll just have this video now.
Good morning, parents, young ones, and teachers. Today we have a conversation that is critical, because any conversation that involves the future of our children who are going to inherit and create the world is always crucial, critical, significant. So welcome to this webinar, which is focused on helping your children to be better. We will discuss today the social emotional learning process. How do we develop social and emotional intelligence skills to manage ourselves better and to manage relationships better? This is what your children are going to learn. Incidentally, managing oneself better, the temptations better, and of course, learning to interact with others better helps them not only to collaborate in their academics, but helps them focus on the subjects. Therefore, we know from a ton of research that this curriculum can help your children to improve their academic scores by even up to 11 percentile higher. So it makes a significant difference. They would improve their academic scores, they would improve their social skills, and they would improve their self-management skills. One of the very important factors in our pattern of education at Emotion Shala is helping the child learn, but also helping the parent learn. Because we know that good parenting leads to better nurturing of the children and superior results from the children. We have something called mirror neurons in our head, which ensures that I can copy somebody if I see them doing something. So if a child sees the mother or the father flying off the handle and getting into a rage very often, they would find that easy to copy, replicate, and live with. That's not what we want. So the parents would be there in the curriculum, because some of them may also help themselves by learning some of the simple tips to be aware of themselves, manage their emotions, build great relationships by understanding others, and pass on those skills to their children, because children learn through observation and mimetic behavior. They mimic you. Also, some of the neuroscience or the brain science is something that the parents would learn to understand the theoretical underpinnings of our lessons, and therefore find it more reasonable to actually pass on the skills. For example, we know now from a ton of brain research that when I name an emotion, my brain actually undergoes a change. The limbic system or the emotional system of the brain gets into the back seat, and the thinking part of the brain takes the front seat, because just naming the emotion has made my thinking part of the brain, what we call the prefrontal cortex, active, and the emotional brain less active. They have an inverse relationship. So the more we understand about neuroscience as parents, the more we get comfortable with the lessons that the children are learning, because they would not learn the neuroscience, they would learn how to actually do things by naming emotions, and the rest of it will be taken care of our biology, internal biology. But parents should learn both. So that's why we believe that parents have a big responsibility to get into some of the classes, as they would understand the validity of the course and can replicate some of the lessons in their real lives, helping their children to do and live better. Thank you to this wonderful webinar. We'll have a good number of speakers and wish you a great day ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Amna and Umama, for this wonderful video, and a warm welcome to everyone, to all the parents and the speakers who are here to share their knowledge with us. So I'm Anuradha Kavuri. I'm a psychologist, and I'm an enthusiast also to know and learn more about SEL. So we'll start our session with a very, very simple question. So we hear a lot about social emotional learning, and it has already been, said that it is a compulsory skill which is to be learned by children and it is already included in the National Education Policy 2020 in India. So I would really like to know, in simple words, how can we understand social emotional learning? So Girija, can I, can you take the lead first, please?
Yeah, thank you, Anuradha. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, Mama. And yeah, before I get into the simple meaning of social emotional learning, I would like to set a backdrop for social emotional learning. Yeah, so we all live in a time where the levels of stress is unprecedented. Feeling overwhelmed has become a fiber of our life. And to top it all, increased competition and ongoing demands have become a way of life. So in times like these, it's critical for every child to have the necessary tools and skills to meet the challenges of today's world and be able to navigate not only through today's times, but to thrive in a world that will open up for them tomorrow. So what is it that all of us parents and caregivers and teachers want for our children? We want them to succeed in school. To succeed in school, student needs to be engaged, interested, most importantly, excited to go to school and be in school. They need to know how to focus their attention on the work or the task that they are doing. Keep trying even when they get discouraged or face a setback. They need to work effectively with other students and also with adults. Be good communicators and problem solvers. Now, these skills form a foundation for young children's success, not only in school, but also in their adult life. And hence, social emotional learning. Social emotional learning is a process for helping children and adults develop the fundamental skills for life effectiveness. So in very simple terminology, Anuradha, SEL teaches skills we all need. One, to handle ourselves, our relationship, and our work, not only effectively, but also ethically. So most importantly, what happens with Sel, with social emotional learning is it serves as an anchor in our children. After learning, social emotional learning, what happens to our children is that they are able to stop, pause, take a breath, avoid acting on impulse, think, what is the problem? What are the options? What's the best path forward? They're able to act as and proceed with best options, act carefully, and also revise if required. So that to me is social emotional learning.
Wow, that's so very well put, Girija. Thank you so much. So, Azura, can we hear your thoughts and how simply you can explain about social emotional learning?
I'll put it in a really simple way, okay? Thank you again for having me here, the organizer, right? Okay, I think social emotional learning is the art of understanding ourselves before and during we make relationship with others, and it involves many things, especially social skills, motivation, empathy, self-awareness, as well as self-regulation. So these are the important key point of social emotional learning that we need to instill in kids. And I'm going to talk about later how we think about how we think about our social emotional ourselves and deliver it to the kids later on. So that's about it for me for now. Okay.
Thank you so much, Azura. So on the same lines, Neha, can you share something about what is in your idea social emotional learning in a very simple language?
Yeah, thank you for inviting me, Sanrada. So, according to me, in the field of education, it has been assumed earlier that students should leave their feelings at the door if they are serious about learning and they want to be successful. And academic and social emotional issues are considered separate earlier, right? And anything that doesn't directly relate to students' academic performance must be dealt outside the classroom. But right now, since the pandemic has started, the parents has understand the importance of socio and emotional learning, because they are not able to understand because they don't have a control on the child's emotion, because the child is not has been exposed to the peer group. The child is not exposed like how they are going to behave with their friends, how they are going to behave with the strangers. So an SEL approach helps students process and integrate these social and emotional skills in school as well as at like everywhere, right? But it doesn't have benefits to kids but to parents as well, right? So we will talk about this as well, like we will answer the parents questions, how they are going to deal with the lack of development that they are feeling that it's in the child right now.
Thank you so much, Neha. So, Chitra, I hope you're back. So, yeah. So, Chitra, can you share your thoughts on, what do you understand by social emotional learning, and how can you explain it in simple
Sure.
words?
Thank you so much. And it was really awesome listening to everybody. And I was just trying to understand the viewpoint that Girija shared. And I totally agree that it is very important for us to not just jump into decisions. We as adults also do that. So like she rightly said that, understanding your own emotions makes you aware. And even if you look at a lion, he will not directly jump, at his prey. What he will do is he generally takes a step back, and that's when he chooses all the power and he goes. I think that's what we have to do with our children. Give them that power to hold, understand, and reconsider, and then jump. Because I think a well-thought decision is always worth it. Secondly, as Azura rightly pointed out, that we see that, emotions like empathy, being aware is spending time with ourselves. Where do we see our children really spending time with themselves? And empathy, I think, goes a long way in not only building relations but also achieving progress in life. And I think a very valid point pointed out by Neha was that now that parents would have, during this pandemic and the lockdown, parents would have spent a lot of time with their children, right? I think we could take it as a very important opportunity, because we don't see how our children perform in school, how they retaliate when teacher gets angry with them or when they have not done something. So this was the time to really introspect and understand that how our child really performs under pressure, or how he kind of escapes pressure. So I think a lot of parents would have understood that emotions play a very big role. Let me say that if tomorrow my child is doing very well academically, he's scoring A+ in everything, but he's not able to connect with his peers, he's not able to connect with his friends, I think I will still consider that as a big gap. So I think social emotional learning will cover that gap. And I recently attended a workshop where the trainer very loud and clear pointed out that behind all our decisions, it is actually the emotions. So he said, you may be a boss and you may want to promote one of your colleagues, and you may give the logic that he has done this and he has done that, but somewhere behind, there is an emotional connect that you have with him. And then the examples he gave, I really related to it. So if actually emotions are behind all our intelligence and behind all our corrections, then I think the earlier we start, the better it is. So I think today and now is the best time. Thank you.
That's so wonderfully explained, Chitra. So with whatever you have shared with us right now, can I brief it by saying that the social emotional skills start with the self-awareness part, wherein we are aware of our thoughts, our feelings, and our behaviors. Then we are able to manage them. That is how we can actually resonate or understand what others are going through, and in a way the relationships that we build are going to be very, very productive and very, very happy. So moving forward, I have an individual question to everyone. So I start with Azura. You're an expert in training teachers and parents in the area of social emotional learning. So what are your thoughts on benefits for parents and children by being socially and emotionally intelligent?
All right. Can I share my screen? Maybe like to enhance further
Yes,
on
please.
what I'm
Yes,
going
please.
to explain. Right? All right. Can you hear my screen? Yeah. Yeah. All right. right, so as you know, I'm a head of early childhood education program, and for the fact that I am with Veritas University College here in Kuala Lumpur, my area of expertise and interests are generally on teachers' educations. Okay, and I was originally a secondary teacher. Then I moved down from there to a preschool educations, and I went up back again onto higher education to train teachers. What brought me here today, I guess, was actually, I think, I saw how secondary students, or so to say teenagers, on my first post, and then how they behave, how they learn are actually tally and tied closely to their early education. So that's when I went down to preschool education and saw the discrepancy from teaching and learning point of view. So from my observations, when we talk about social emotional learning, I think we often forget how we are as a teacher or even parents position ourselves, how we position ourselves first before we guide and teach children about social emotional learning. So thank you for putting me as the first panel, because all of you need to excuse my presentations. I guess we need to start with the roots of the roots in delivering social emotional learning curriculum. I believe Neha will help me all of you to see the social emotional learning benefit for parents before all other two lovely panel talk about the curriculum itself. All right. All right. So this is what happened in the classroom. We have teachers and we have children's, and children's with their radical sincerity and immediate response, and while teachers have their house rules and emotional response. All right. And this is where teachers social emotional intelligence come in place. All right. All right. Sorry. All right. As teachers, we are attached, and I think, to the subject matter when what I call the lure of learning. I mean, this comes from our passion in teaching ourselves that we want children to learn. Okay, and we are also very much attracted to trying to understand this being in children's and themselves. And then, of course, that one of the key tasks of teaching is try to find a way to connect those beings, those children's, the kids, their engagement in the world with either of the skills that we teach. And it's trying to make that connection. That's where I think teachers work on their emotions and on the kids' emotions. So good teachers either intuitively or learn their way around both the cognitive material that they are working with, but also the emotional terrain of the kids in their life. So in this dynamic that we have a relationship over here. All right. So a relationship between children's and teachers, and of course where we have maturity and intelligence come in the picture. And when there is a relationship, there is also love. All right. So now you guys wonder, what is this lady talking about love? So relax. I'll go in depth about it. All right. So as I was getting interested in the topic of reasons and emotions, and becoming aware of the cause that teaching had for some teachers, I also began to have practicing teachers coming to my classes who were tired, who were worn out. And that not only happens to teachers, I guess parents as well during these trying times. Okay, they wanted to some way to understand what was happening to them. From them, I mean, like, there are some either being feel lost, burned down, being tired, and the real signs of recognizing at that one time they were involved, they were in love, and they were engaged, and then it all lost. I mean, like, that's where the temper come in and everything, and somehow to reconcile that. And I think for me, the explorations of love and despair at this and this reason and emotion, a larger area of reason emotion, is a way to do that. So there is actually three kinds of love in teaching and learning. All right. All right, so we have three kinds of love in teaching and learning here. One is, as I mentioned, on my first slide, I refer to a romantic love. This is where the lure of learning coming in. All right. We teachers, we parents always have this. We have this romantic in teaching. We want the children to learn. And then another one we call is attentive love. And that's our attempt to understand kids. And I think a part of that is listening to kids. And part of that is also having kind regards for children. And then there's another love that I outlined here is actually enlarged love. All right. It's an attempt to see one's own situation and the predicament that children find themselves in, and one finds himself in there as a teacher, him or herself as a teacher, in a way to try to be able to understand and move beyond those immediate concern. All right. So the kind of love that I'd like to explore today is that what I call attentive love. I think this type of love that has most of the concept of kindness in the relationship. And the attempt, I mean, like, we need to understand the good exists within each student. From the attempt to listen and to see our students more clearly and justify, and the understanding that in order to see more clearly, we need to reduce the noise in ourselves. What I mean the noise in ourselves is like how we self-regulate ourselves and deal with the students. And for me, it's a presumption that we need to approach the classroom. We need to approach our kids in our understanding. All right. So good exists within students, within other individuals, and within the world at large. And I think that with that assumption that good exists within, we can try to understand and be more open to understanding to the students and the kids. Another one is that what we need to do is to attend to our students. We should see them more clearly and more justly. All right. Another thing is I want to point out is we need to have the art of listening to childrens. Okay, childrens who knows others are listening may begin to listen to themselves, and then they may one day become their own critics. That sense of having child being attended to is through the act of listening. It's not the art of listening. Okay, waiting for or looking around what we are going to do next. It's not the act of listening and trying to figure out what's wrong with the child, but it's the act of listening, just trying to understand that child in their own terms. All right. Okay. And then we have teachers advocating social emotional learning. Sorry. Okay, social emotional intelligence. How do we advocate the social emotional intelligence in for children? So how there is a few questions that we need to ask ourselves. Okay, and we have to put love in there, always to put in love, and also have to put some intelligence in the maturity that we have as a teachers. So because teacher social emotional intelligence will affect children in one way or another. So the first question we need to ask ourselves is, who is this student before me, and what strength and gift does he or she bring to our setting? And then the second one, why might he or she be responding or reaching in a way I find troubling? And then third one, how could I reframe the situation that I could contribute to viewing students in new lights? And then the important one, I guess, like, what does my reaction to these students tell me about myself? All right, because so these questions bring back to my rules number one in my slides is the relations. I believe like there's a relationships is one part of the important part in social emotional learning, because it's important to build positive relationship in our students. Okay, let me ask all of you, do you want to learn do you want to learn from someone you don't like? We don't, right? We don't learn from someone we don't like. Okay, so kids are also like that. They learn better from someone they like. They need someone who believe in them. It's time for all of us, teachers, parents, to silence the noise in us and to believe the children. Because sometimes when the noise in teachers happen, and we just lost our kind thoughts on the children themselves. So I guess if teacher can be richly kind and attentive towards students, I think if we put teachers in a different place and then enables them to choose battles, they won't fight because there are plenty of battles to fight, to choose when is the appropriate time and how far to go with particular students in their regards, and it will enable the teachers to find their own place in the classroom. I think in a more powerful and in a more resilient kind of way. So that's my thought on it. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Azura. That was so very well explained. That as a parent or a teacher, we need to understand the children, listen to ourselves first, manage the chaos that is there inside us.
Yeah.
You know, just be in the moment and listen to the kids attentively to help them in their healthy emotional and social development. Thank you so much.
I can add, like, because like sometimes we do have our belief, and because of our belief, we misjudge the children's. So that's my key point, I guess. It's not clear.
Thank you so much, Azura. So now my second question is to Ms. Neha Seth. So we all know that questions are more important than the answers. So tell us about the benefits of social emotional learning for parents, because we do understand that for kids, we have, there are a lot of benefits that are, once you Google, you'll be able to find many, but what is it for the parents? Neha?
So, as you have said, that questions are more important than the answers. So there are a list of questions that parents have these days, and you know that SEL approach helps everyone process their integrate and social and emotional skills in everywhere. But it doesn't have benefits only to kids, but to parents as well. So what are the questions basically these days parents have? How my child is going to behave outside with the peer group and the strangers. My child doesn't have control on his or her emotions. How can I manage that? My child doesn't speak much or doesn't know how to express. What should I do? These are questions that everybody has. And the simple answer is that the child and parent both need to understand about the social and emotional learning. So how is it going to help parents? Parents have a big responsibility, and the growth of child and parent personally is interlinked, according to me. So developing stronger social emotional skills not only improves the performance of students, but the ability to build relationship with the child has also improved in parents. So social emotional learning teaches important life skills like managing emotions, building relationship, and making decisions. So it is also important to parents as well. If they are not able to make their own decision, like very well, how are they going to help their kids? So it is interlinked. So my first point will be the relationship skill. Every parent want the best relationship with their child. They just want to be happy family, happy parent, kids. So it is important for the relationship establishment. This SEL skill help parents to understand how to act in regards to social norms. So generally, basically we say that parents and children have this communication gap. There is no communication gap. It's just we are not able to understand the emotion the child is having, and the child is not able to understand the emotions of the parent. So it is just a sophisticated word we have just given that, yeah, it's a communication gap, but it's not. So the key components are communication, cooperation, listening, managing conflict, and understanding emotions of their child. And it can only be done if we will understand this SEL term. The next is self-awareness. Parents want best for their child, but it can only be done when they do best for themselves. Self-awareness involves cultivating a greater understanding of their emotions, goals, beliefs, strengths, and weaknesses. Recognizing the link between thoughts and actions can help them to make decisions with a greater insight. And the other is responsible decision making, which we say like it is SEL is also going to help the responsible decision making in students, but in parents as well. So those with the responsible decision making skills think about their own goals, social factors, and self understanding when making constructive choices. This foster understanding of cause and effect, as well as the consequences of action, which helps them to provide the right guidance and help to kids as well. They're able to provide the right guidance. They're going to help their kids in the decision making throughout their life. The role of a parent, it's a big responsibility. So the parents need to understand the concept of social and emotional learning, so that they're going to help themselves and the kids as well. So what role do parents have in their children's social and emotional development? Parents can assist in the development of social emotional abilities, so that their children can form good interactions with friends and family members. As you know that your baby is observing how you respond to their social and emotional needs, even as a baby, each situation, how they are, they observe. So by following your lead, they will learn to empathize, respond to others' emotions, and express. So they are going to observe and learn. And positive family relationships, which are like at the heart of many people's social and emotional health, benefit both children and adults. Social and emotional learning, here specifically on enhancing emotional development in these relationships, can assist parents in their strengthening their bonds with their children and fostering a mutually beneficial relationship based on social and emotional awareness. So after all, SEL can serve as a helpful and stable basis for achieving success in other aspects of life. So parents need to learn about this social and emotional learning, that they already the parents have understood where the child is lacking. So whenever parents come and ask to me, my child is behaving like this, my child is behaving not properly, or he's not talking to strangers, some guest is coming over our house and my child is not able to express, he doesn't know like how to talk. So my basic answer is your child is lacking in social emotional development, because it comes with the peer group, with the mindfulness, with the learning, and the most important, how you behave in front of them, because they're going to observe. So the role of parent is a big. So yeah, that's what I want to conclude. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Neha. So it means that, parents will be able to build more caring and understanding relationship skills with their children. So it also helps the parents in being aware of their own self, helps them in providing right guidance to their children, because children do model the behavior of their parents. So that's beautifully explained. So next, my question would be for Girija. So Girija, there are many academic curriculums designed in the world, but how does a curriculum on social emotional learning in kids useful for the kids?
Okay, good question, and thank you so much. So I'll just share my screen. So are you able to see this?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So let's have a background on what the curriculum teaches, or what is the social emotional learning goals and outcomes, or the dimensions of SEL. One is awareness. It helps students gain greater first-person attentiveness and awareness of their own thoughts and feelings, greater awareness of others and their mental life, also greater awareness of interdependence as it relates to their own life and to a broader system within which they live in this world. Also, one of the outcome is compassion. So students will cultivate skills of emotional hygiene and self-care, empathy and courageous compassion for others. So compassion not only for self, but also for others. And also an abiding recognition of common humanity that values all people everywhere. So it is value-based learning. The third outcome or the goal of social emotional learning is engagement. Develop increasingly sophisticated self-regulation skills, discerning behavior that is beneficial to self and others, ability to relate productively and caringly with others. Also, ability to engage effectively and confidently on a larger community and a global level for broad social benefit. Let me also now take you to through the enduring capabilities. So we in the personal domain, what are the enduring capabilities that children will benefit with? One is attention and self-awareness. So when we're talking about attention and self-awareness, here we teach children to attend to the body and their sensations. So notice and describe sensations in the body, especially those related to stress and well-being. Then they also learn to attend to the emotions, to their emotions and feelings, which means they are able to identify one's emotion in type and intensity as they arise. So they're able to catch it as they arise. They are able to also map, attention and awareness also teaches map of mind. Here, what children are taught is to categorize emotion in relation to emotional models. So they are able to, discriminate between, the potentially harmful and the potentially beneficial emotions. That is map of mind. Another thing in the personal domain that children learn is self-compassion. While we all understand compassion to others, it's also important to understand to be kind to self. So understand our feelings and emotional, but in the larger context. Also about accepting self, which means self-care. So this is another thing that a child learns in the personal domain. The most important key factor is self-regulation, which means balancing the body. So how do you regulate the body and your nervous system, especially when activated, stressed or lacking in energy to optimal well-being. So that's about balancing the body. Cognitive and impulsive control. So sustain attention on a object or a task or an experience. Is the child able to complete the task? Is the child able to avoid distraction? And importantly, navigating emotions. So are they able to respond constructively to impulses and emotions and cultivate the behaviors and attitudes that facilitate one's long-term well-being? So here you take away the short-term benefit and think about long-term. So that is in the personal domain. Now also enduring capabilities in social domain. So here, when we talk about interpersonal awareness, we're talking about attending to social reality, which means recognize our inherently social nature and attend to the presence of others and the roles they play in our life. Then attending to shared reality of others, which means appreciate what we share with others on a fundamental level, such as wanting happiness, avoiding suffering of others as well, having emotions and body states, and other common experiences. Another thing is, in compassion is about appreciating in interpersonal awareness is about appreciating diversity and differences, which means we are able to appreciate shared reality in diversity, uniqueness, accept others as they are, accept self as we are. In the compassion domain for others, here we, children are taught to understand others' feelings and others' emotions in context. So not only feelings of self, but also for others. So having compassion for others, appreciating and cultivating kindness and compassion, which means the value and benefits of kindness, compassion, and cultivate them as a disposition. Similarly, appreciating and cultivating ethical dispositions, which means pro-social emotions, such as, especially pro-social emotions such as forgiveness, patience, contentment, generosity, and humility. Like everybody said, relationship skills, like listening, especially empathetic listening, skillful communication, communicate compassionately, helping others, offer help to others need and to their needs and proportionate to one's ability as well. And conflict transformation. So are you able to respond constructively to conflict, facilitate collaboration, reconciliation, and peaceful relations? So this is a part of the social domain on how we put ourselves out there amongst in the society with others and with situations. Another enduring capabilities that children build in is in the systematic domain. So appreciating, here it's about appreciating systems, processes, and its interdependence. So broadly, understanding interdependent systems, exploring chain of cause and effect. Also individual within system context, which means understanding my role of self, and how I impact, affect, and how I get impacted and affected. Also recognizing common humanity, so appreciating equality for all, tolerance, accepting people, others' values, others' religious, so acceptability and tolerance towards religions. So that's about common humanity. Similarly, appreciating how a system affects our well-being. So recognize how systems can promote or compromise well-being on cultural and structural levels, such as promoting positive values, perpetuating problematic beliefs, and also inequalities. In the systematic domain, also how do we operate in community and global engagement? So exploring one's potential for affecting positive change in the community and the world. What do I contribute to the world? Engaging in communal and global solutions. So explore, reflect on creative solutions to issues that are affecting not only one's community, but and oneself, but also the world. So some of the learning threads are critical thinking, reflective practices, scientific perspective, and engaged learning. Finally, this is all about educating the heart and mind. We cannot get through a single day in our life without having an impact on the world around us. What each one of us does and does not do makes a huge impact, and a difference to self, others, and the universe we exist. We are empowered to decide and make ethical choices on what kind of difference we want to make and what imprint we want to leave behind us. And hence, human-centered skills such as emotional intelligence, mindfulness, self-regulation, just to name a few, are no longer optional, quite the opposite. They're critical to thrive today and in the future, and hence the growing importance of a curriculum in social emotional learning. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Girija. So what I can understand from this is it develops greater awareness of self, mental life, our own life, and understand in a broader system, right? And be compassionate towards others, empathetic towards others. So that does lead to healthier environment around us. So when we talk about an ecosystem, we, if a child, we give in between. So we have parents, teachers, and the community together that contribute to the development of the child. So these curriculums do help the children in developing in better human beings for sure. Along with their academic excellence, I think everyone needs these emotional skills as well. So now we will go ahead with Chitra Company. So we heard a lot of different perspectives of benefits of such curriculum from Girija and from others as well. So what are your thoughts on the big picture of what can be the impact on children by following such curriculum?
Thank you so much, Anuradha. And I've been listening some really valuable inputs given by everybody over here. And so I think that I would like to narrate a few examples, as I have been fortunate enough to have dealt with children, adults, also middle school. So, some of my observations have been like I could say that into this field. Now, as we say that social emotional intelligence talks about a lot of parameters. So I just want to do a little small little exercise with all of you. If you could see me, you can see me. I want you to
Yes.
raise your right hand. I want you to raise your right hand. Please participate with me. That'll really make me happy. And as we're talking about emotions, I think happiness takes the biggest lead. So I want you to just use your index finger and thumb and make a circle. And then I want you to rotate your hand twice, anti-clockwise, and keep the hand on your chin. I said chin. Okay, great. So why do you think that happened? I mean, I said very clearly that, keep the hand on your chin, but I guess that most of us happen to keep the hand on the cheek. And the reason was because I was doing this. So imagine that we here, I think, are giving our maximum concentration, because this is an important part of our curriculum today, at least, an important part of my day. But even then, the only activity we did, we made a mistake. We are adults, we are listening, right? Then what do you think the children do? So just one thing I want to tell you, that children grow up with what they see. A happy parent or a happy teacher will definitely bring up happy children, and vice versa. So how many of us are really aware of what we are doing? Because our children are going to be a replica of that. Many a times you will see, I have actually seen my son doing some things exactly which my husband does, and those are some of the things which I probably didn't like. But then when I self-introspected, I realized that probably I've been vocal about those things, saying them again and again, and that has kind of entered my children's brain. Yes, every situation makes us learn. So I think it's very important to be self-aware of what we are doing, and let's hope that our children will also become aware, and we are going to help them with this. Next is self-management. So again, I will narrate a very small incident, but I think a big learning it was for me. So one of my student came and she told me that I saw her that she was pretty upset. And many of our students come and stay in the hostel. They are away from their families, so they kind of connect with us, and they also come and share with us. So I asked her what is wrong, and so incidentally she had pointed out some of her friends who were her own group were meeting, putting their social media posts, and she was not invited. And obviously, because she was really sad because she was not invited, I think not even sad, she was angry why she was not invited, but at the same time, no way of expressing that anger. So when I asked her, what is it that is making you feel so bad? She said that, they all met, but they didn't call me. So I told her that, okay, what were you doing yesterday? She said, I was working on a very important assignment, so I didn't know they were meeting. I said, oh, so would they have called you? You would have gone? No, ma'am, I wouldn't have been able to go because I was doing an assignment. I said, then how does it matter? No, it's not that. What is making me feel is that they don't want me. I don't go, or I go is not the thing, but they don't want me. I told her, okay, so just let's introspect a little. Let's say tomorrow you're having a party with your very close friends. Will you call them? She said, they are not that close to me. I might not call them. So I said, now just tell me that if you are not going to call them on your important days, why do you feel bad that they are not calling you? No, ma'am, we are in the same group. I said, yes, exactly, you're in the same group, but it could be that they thought that anyway you're not going to come. Maybe they feel closer. Tomorrow, if you have something, you may want to call people who are more closer to you. I don't know if I could answer her question, but I saw that her agitation really went down and she calmed. And she said that, I said, see, one is, if it is really disturbing you, you want to be into their circle, why don't you calm down and just tell them that you felt bad and you were expecting that you will be a part of this, or else just be merry and say, if I had a party, probably I would also not go. And I would be with some others. But what I thought was that little later when I met her, she was able to deal well with it. So what I'm saying is that not always do we know what we are feeling and how do we need to handle it. Then how can we expect our children to do it? Yes, the irony is that there is no rule book to life. And we don't have a subject called as soft skills or life skills in school, where now we see we are moving towards it. So how many of us today, before the meeting started, could say that I'm happy, or was I excited, or was I nervous? It could be any of these, right? Why is it that a child, when every parent loves their child so much, why is it that one child feels that he is better than his sibling, while the other child feels, I am not good for anything, while the other child says, because I'm not so good looking or I'm short, I feel that I'm not able to do that. So again, my questions are just a gateway to tell you that in the formative years, when we don't teach our child any maths, English, or any concepts, what we do is a child knows when there is a frown on the mother's face. A child knows when there is a smile on mother's face, and when she opens her arms, to embrace him. And it is those relations and those emotions which really build up the base for children. And I think that if we build this base in a very creative and an intelligent way with practice and awareness, we will definitely be able to build the best decision-making skills for them. Now, decision-making is again something I think all of us want to be an expert at that, right? So I always say that decision making is a knife which is given to us by nature, by God, by Mother Earth. All of us have it, and it is given to us to cut through difficult situations. But the only one condition is that knife has to be sharpened with every situation, with every practice. But what do? The moment your daughter tells you, Mama, which color should I paint? We are ready to tell her, beta green, beta blue, beta yellow. The moment he tells us which dress should I wear in this party, we are always there to say, what should I study? We are always there to say. Why do we say this? Why do we always want to be available? Why don't we let them sharpen their own saw with their own practices? And then maybe they will reach a place wherein they will be able to help us with better decisions. I think that there is a lot we can learn from children, the bubbliness, and I think all of us are practicing that, living in the moment, not expecting, not thinking about what I did wrong today and how will it make me suffer tomorrow. I think if we take each day as it comes and we learn from the children and we just help them to nurture that innocence with the help of emotional intelligence and emotional awareness, we will be able to do a great deal, not for them and not for us, but the whole world itself. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chitra. That activity was really, then our full attention was on whatever next you're going to share with us. Thank you so much for that. Yes, that's beautifully shared by you with examples as well, right? We do understand that children go through a lot of things, and then half of them or most of them are learned from the environment at home and environment outside. So this type of curriculums or the social emotional learning surely gives us an edge to make them understand of what they are going through, at the same time manage themselves very well, with which they can build beautiful relationships within and around their people, with having gender sensitivity, as Girija was telling, and as Azura was also sharing. It's like, the parents and the teachers have to be emotionally intelligent to help their children. And as Neha was sharing, help them in making better decisions in their lives and not being 100% available to them, but nurture them to being a better human beings. Thank you so much, everyone. Over to you, Mama.
Thank you, ma'am. I would like to thank all our speakers, Ms. Azura, Ms. Girija, Ms. Neha, and Ms. Chitra for their valuable time to speak about SEL. Thank you, ma'am, for moderating. I think I speak for everyone when I say that the inputs by the speakers were insightful and we all have gained a lot of knowledge. such as Ms. Girija rightly pointed out about how SEL works as an anchor to help our children stop, pause, and take a break, and how SEL curriculum helps in personal, social, and systematic development by educating the heart and mind. As Ms. Chitra mentioned, how SEL curriculum helps in understanding of emotions and help become aware of the actions and manage emotions. And in the formative years, if we build the base with practice of social and emotional learning and awareness, we will be able to better help children develop properly. As Ms. Neha rightly talked about benefits of social and emotional learning and how it helps not only children, but parents as well to help their children in understanding them better and make a positive family environment and mutually nurturing relationships. As Ms. Azura explained how SEL helps in forming better relationships between teachers and children by including love, maturity, art of listening, and understanding. Also, I would like to thank all the parents and teachers who took some time out to attend this webinar. Lastly, I would like to thank my colleague, Ms. Amna. You showed how important teamwork is and how collective work can ensure success. Thank you all for joining. Your presence here today meant a lot to the team. If you have any queries, feel free to contact us. The email and number are mentioned on the slide. Take care, stay safe.